Hi guys, this is Joel from Gardening in the Grove, Cottage Grove, Minnesota, Zone 5A. We are just southeast of the Twin Cities. Today is Sunday, May 25th. I thought I would take you around and show you what's going on in the garden today. It's been a while since I posted a video, so let's get going. All right, we're going to start up by the mailbox garden, but I'll just give you a quick overview of the entire front yard. All right. Mailbox garden I've planted up with annuals again. These are proven winners. Super Vista bubblegum petunias. They're going to be a nice bright pink. I did cut them back when I planted them, and they're starting to get their flush on. They've only been in the ground for maybe 2 weeks. Back behind that is going to be the Senorita Rosalita Cleome, however you pronounce that one. That'll get nice pink and white flowers. As some of you might know if you've been watching my videos, that I put these 2 tree rings around the trees in the front yard last year. A lot of this stuff is just transplants from the back. Got a few hostas, a little foam flower. I don't know that one's bloomed this year, but the ones in the back are in good bloom, so I will show you those, what these will look like eventually. Got a wild geranium, sorry for my shadow, and don't pay attention to the weeds. I haven't did much weeding yet this year, so we'll have to just excuse that from me. All right, my other tree ring around front, this has got a little bit more. As you can see, I've got my flamingos. Those are planted up with some really pretty petunias. They were in full bloom, but I cut them back and they haven't reflushed yet. They're pink with a yellow eye. Ringed around the whole thing is going to be impatiens that are planted. Then I've got some different hostas, a wild geranium, Archangel's in a nice bloom. That's I believe it's a form of an lamium, but it gets these little yellow, almost like little bead-looking flowers on it in the early spring. So that's kind of cute. Got some coreopsis here that'll put on some yellow flowers. Those are actually a transplant from my sister-in-law Joanne. All right, here's another foam flower. That's what the blooms look like. It's still pretty small. Again, this was started last summer, so it's got to take some time to get all those things going. Remember, the first year they sleep, which they're just putting on their growth into the roots. Second year they creep, means they start getting a little bit more ambitious and learning how to get their walking in, and then they take a leap on the third year. All right, let's walk around the front here. The front door. Gonna do something strip with that strip on the garage there this year. Got a new garden bench. Got that painted. It was black. I painted that up this last couple of days. All along the front, I've put in impatiens. Just kind of a nice bright pink. Got a petunia basket down at the Amish Gardens a couple weeks ago. Moon rock hydrangea was new last year. I don't see any buds, but it came back and looking rather lovely. Just put together this umbrella basket today. So it's just got petunias, some coleus. I don't really know what the white flowers are. And there's a little bit of a sweet potato vine. All right. Agastache, that'll get long lavender spikes. Actually, I had a couple of hydrangeas here. I believe they were Summer Crush, and they perished over the winter. So a couple other hostas, Hat Trick, and Wind Beneath My Rings. Right up above that, we have a Weigela. No idea what kind, but it's putting on quite a show right now. And you guys are going to have to tell me. I have a hardy hibiscus, and I know that they are late to start up, but I don't see anything, so I'm not sure if I should still wait or if I should just assume that that one is not going to work this year. Right in front of that, I did plant a few salvia that I saved seeds on last year, so we'll see how those do. But they look like they're doing pretty good. And then we're going to go around the ring. This used to have a great big tree of some sort in it, and I took that out several years ago, and last year I dug this out and started planting in it. We got a big swath. I think there's 10, I believe they're Rose Marvel salvia. Only one of them's really starting to put on the show, but it's a nice bright pink. I really like that color. In front of that, we had some tulips earlier that put on a nice show. Got a little Creeping Jenny. Creeping Jenny is a nice chartreuse, really bright color. Bobo hydrangea. Got that from the Creekside Nursery in Dallas, North Carolina last year. It came as a quart size. It was really puny, but it is putting on a lot of new growth, and at least it made it through the winter, so we'll see what we can do. This one is Neon Sedum. It's pretty much the same as the Autumn Joy Sedum that is pretty common around here, but it's a little brighter in its bloom. It's a little more pink. Another Weigela, and I believe this is Limelight Prime. I actually started with that one up in that ring up there, and then I moved it over here because I wanted Bobo up there instead. These are Endless Summer hydrangeas, which are the original. You guys will have to tell me in the comments, because I was under the understanding that I should not cut off the growth because these are bloom on old growth from last year. So last year was the first time I did not cut them back, and all I ended up with was twigs. I get a nice flush of growth, but last year I think I got one bloom, and that was the first time in many years. All right, we got another Weigela. That one's not quite bloomed yet. It's probably a little more shady, but it'll put on a nice little red set of flowers there. And then the last thing in the front yard here is our probably 30-year-old, 20-year-old clematis. It just blooms a purple, but it is doing on some really good, putting on some really good growth. I actually had to change out that trellis this year because last year it kind of overtook the smaller one I had. Right in front of it, I have a couple of Astilbes. I thought these two were the same, which are Maggie Daly, but I'm not sure. The foliage doesn't look quite the same. But they came back. This is the first year that I've had Astilbe come back. I have had poor luck with it. This one in front of it is, I gotta remember myself, Dark Side of the Moon. So that's a nice purple foliage on it, and I believe it gets nice pink plumes on it for the buds, or the blooms. So, all right, well, let's go around the backyard. All right, we're gonna go around the garden that surrounds the deck on the back side of the house. Got a nice peony here. This one will be white. It's not as full. It's been here a number of years, but this side is the east side of the house. There's a big tree right up over my shoulder, right up behind this peony. So it does get quite a bit of shade. So it doesn't get quite as many. I probably should move it at some point, but I'm too lazy. Right next to that is a Ligularia. That's going to get, that one's called the Rocket, and that'll get really long yellow plumes at some point. Again, I got several hostas along here. Halcyon is a little blue one in front. Coast to Coast is a nice chartreuse. And I've got up behind that, I think that one's Empress Woo. That one's not my original. My original's right behind me, and we'll see that in just a few minutes. Another, that one, small one, is Dawn's Early Light. That's also another transplant or from another piece of it behind me also. This one's, I never can remember how to pronounce that name. It's Montana Arrow Margarita or something like that. So I really like that one. It's kind of large and I like the variegation. Stained glass, Age of Gold. Those ones, a lot of these were planted as little liners also last year. So that one back behind it is Humpback Whale. That one's actually a very giant one, so that'll get large. Transplant of My Night Before Christmas. These are Amsonia. They will get little nice blue flowers on them. I think it's called Blue Ice. A couple other transplants here. Earth Angel, I believe that is. That's nice variegation. It's quite large. T-Rex. I got that one many years ago at the Funky Garden in Prescott, Wisconsin. Got Tears in Heaven. I believe that one is Golden Tiara. That's a transplant. I've been able to split Golden Tiara from the back several times. A couple more. Got a Ostrich Ferns. Got a Halcyon. Dancing Queen. Got some wild geranium I planted as a transplant from one of my group members from the Pine Ridge Garden Club here in Cottage Grove. She lives a few blocks away and was splitting hers and giving them up. Blue mouse ears, that one's a mini. I just got that one a couple days ago off of Marketplace. All right, and then above that is my white diamond and pink diamond hydrangeas. I had 4 of them here at one time. 3 of them have perished, and these are the 2 that are left. So they'll get like long white and long pink panicle blooms later on. The little white flowers there are Lily of the Valley. I got those as a transplant from my sister-in-law's Joanne's garden last year. So they have survived and come back quite nicely. Wiggles and Squiggles hosta. Summon Substance hosta. And we got some more ostrich ferns and a couple more transplants. And that one is my 9-bark, and I believe it was Summer Wine. It gets as tall as the deck. It was quite scraggly. I never trimmed it, maybe just a little bit on light pruning, but this time I pruned it way hard, almost back to the ground, and it's flushing out nice. I just gave it a good rejuvenation prune. So, all right, let's go up the side garden. All right, we're gonna go up the east side of the property. This I just call my side garden. It's probably part shade or mostly shade. This is my original Empress Wu. I believe I got that at Funky Garden too many years ago. And I got a big swath of the ostrich ferns. That was from Rustic Gardens. I want to say she even dug them up for me out of her own garden and gave me 1 or 2 little sprigs for free, and they have multiplied. My original Dawn's Early Light, I have dug out portions of this, as I showed you earlier. Then we've got some Golden Tiara, an Unknown hosta. I believe that one might have come from Menards or Walmart. Looks like we had hail the other day, so it looks like we might have had some hail damage to that one. And another transplanting from the Dawn's Early Light, Archangel, Lamium. Not sure which that one is. That might have been another Halcyon. And then back behind that, I think is Lismachia or Loosestrife. Gets nice yellow flowers in a few weeks. All right, I got a quite large peony here. This one still gets a bunch of shade, but this one will put on red blooms here in a couple weeks. Another Unknown hosta that I received or purchased at one of the stores that didn't have a tag. Behind that, Japanese anemone. That'll get towards fall. It will get light pink blooms on that. First time I believe this columbine is bloomed, and it's been there for a while. Isn't that pretty? It's just kind of a purple with the yellow center, almost like for the Minnesota Vikings. Ha ha ha! I'm not a Vikings fan. A little dwarf Solomon seal I just planted last week. I got off a marketplace. Back behind that, another unknown hosta. Got this little, I don't know what you call it, sphere, I guess. Neighbor was having a garage sale. She is a big gardener. I went back through her garden and asked how much she would want for that. So I got it for $10. Unknown hosta. Been there for a number of years. It's actually 2 plants. I think I had 3 there at one time, and I took one out, transplanted that. Back behind that is another one of those Montana margaritas ones. Like I say, I don't know how to say that one. And then along the fence line is what I call false sunflowers. They get 6, 7, 8 feet tall with nice yellow blooms that kind of look like a daisy. Back behind here is a bleeding heart. It's actually been here a number of years. I probably should move it. It's usually done better than this, but it actually did survive the winter, so I don't know. Got a gold bleeding heart here. Nice pink set of flowers. It's almost done, so they're kind of fading off, but kind of pretty. That one's doing a little bit better than the other one, but not the best. Then I've got a raspberry splash pulmonaria. That one's finished. That one's a really early spring bloomer. So Devon, I think it's Devon green hostas. Autumn joy sedum. Unknown astilbe, but it came back. Yay! I just planted the variegated Solomon seal earlier today. I got that off the marketplace. It does have a couple little yellow blooms left. Some more loosestrife. Then I've got my Night Before Christmas. I think that one's the original. Right behind it is a Patriot. And here's my foam flowers. This is where the ones from the front yard came from. I think it was bought as one little pot, and it has spread pretty good over the years. And I really like the foamy flowers. And once it's done, I can kind of deadhead it, and that'll give me a little flush, but you know, it's never as good as the original. Back behind that is another golden tiara hosta and an unknown hosta. Then I've got Sunshine Glory and Queen Josephine. Then I just got a sensitive fern that I planted earlier today. Got that one off of Marketplace. I just like that one's kind of a little more open and airy than the ostrich ferns. And then in front of that, under my little cloche, it's actually a Dollar Tree wastebasket. So $1.25 to use as a cloche. But this is my Queen of Hearts Brunnera. I don't know, it came back, but I thought by now it should have bloomed and should have been probably way bigger than that. So we'll have to see. Got some hellebores back there that I just planted this year. I got those earlier in the spring from Trader Joe's, but those look like they're doing pretty good. Back behind that is Britt Marie Crawford, I think it's called, Ligularia. That's kind of like the bottle rocket one that I showed you up front around the deck, but this one only gets little, like, just little yellow flowers. But I like the darker foliage. Haven't planted up my little tree yet. I believe that one is Elegans. That's an unknown hosta, but I really like the chartreuse pinky color. Another Queen of Hearts Brunnera. More anemone. Back behind gets really tall. Probably another couple of feet, and then it will put on big white plumes. I believe that's called goat's beard. A couple more hostas back there that I had transplanted. And then if we swing to the front here, we'll walk around my little birdcage garden. And that's why I call it the bird cage. Kind of all one garden, but at this point I kind of separate it. All these blocks that I had up from my original garden actually are going to get pulled up, and somebody at work wants them, so I'm going to bring them to her. All right, I'm going to start out here on the outside of this ring. I've got some bloom flowers. These are mini, so we'll get some white ones and some purple. And the blooms look like little hot air balloons before they open up. That's why I think they are called bloom flowers. Then I've got some, I don't know what they call, wild phlox, I guess, or woodland phlox. These were planted last year. I've got one that's started to bloom a little bit, but kind of a pretty pale blue, purple. So that's kind of cute. And behind that, I transplanted these from the garden around this deck. These are more balloon flowers, but these are actually taller. And these are Fuji blue, so they'll all get blue. Moved my bird bath back here this year. We'll see how that works out. I haven't noticed the birds coming to it yet, but back right behind that we have some more columbine. This is a little bit different color. I really like the red. The first time it's actually done well for blooming. In front of that's supposed to be blue ones, but it looks like they came back, but they ain't putting on any growth or any blooms. Yarrow. I believe this is called, I want to say hello yellow, but I'm not sure. So that'll put on yellow. I just got a set of 3. Couple more golden tiaras in front of a generic hosta. That's a hosta that I had for many, many years from my neighbor right over there. Used to line her driveway with several. I took them and have divided and tried to kill and divided some more. So this one is just kind of a nice place, so we'll just keep it there. It's another 9 bark. I want to say that's called something black, but I can't remember. I'd have to go look it up. I believe that's Fire and Ice hosta. I just kind of dug it up as a transplant, splitting from another spot in the garden. And I believe this one is phlox. And then I have a heuchera. I want to say that's something fire, but I'd have to look it up. All right, I believe that's a little teensy weensy, a piece of a bee balm. Not sure what color it is. I think it was a gift from a friend. That's my William Baffin rose. It's a climbing rose. If you know the story from last year's videos, I had 2 or 3 of them. I tried to kill them all, tried to dig them up. This one just kept returning and returning. That's many years old. I pulled it up. It was on the side of the garage and moved it back here to put on the little bed frame trellis. And I got some iris here. Those will be a pretty pale blue, lavender, whatever you want to call that. In front of that is some Stella d'Oro daylilies. Another generic hosta from the neighbor. Miss Kim lilac. I dug up one of them that was on the side of the shed here, and I started to dig, or I'm going to start to dig this one up pretty soon. The neighbor has the exact same ones, the same age. We got them all the same year, probably 20, 25 years ago. It was many, many years ago. I chopped mine way back and then start to get it dug up. They actually want it to fill in a gap, so he and I are going to dig that up over the next couple of weeks and get that transplanted. All right, I've got some bee balm here. I believe this one's red. I think it was the split I got from my sister-in-law Joanne's friend Karen. So I can't wait to see that. Got some asters here. The tall ones in the back will be a pink, and the littler ones in the front will be more of a purple. Then I've got some Boom Chocolata geraniums, proven winners. First year was last year for them. I planted, so they put on some nice growth. I want to say they get little lavender or pink flowers on them. Behind that is double play doozy geranium, not geranium, spirea. Um, the rabbits ate that one all the way to the ground this spring. I put one of those cheap cloches over the top for a month or so, and it started putting on really nice growth. So I removed that. I don't think the rabbits have been trying to eat them anymore. Behind that, along the shed here, is Rebecca clematis. That was a plant that I planted from Donahue's Gardens in Faribault last year. So that'll get nice red flowers on it. Little creeping Jenny in the rocks there. And then that is the original Solomon seal, the variegated. I bought that off of Marketplace. All right. I don't know if you can hear in the background, but it sounds like the neighbors are playing ball. So if you hear anybody shouting, that's what's going on. All right, we're going to go on the west side of the shed here, backyard. This is a grouping of Stella de Oro daylilies, as well as there's another one. I don't know the name of it, but it's a bigger one, and it gets yellow with orange stripes on it. Back behind this is another kind of a loosestrife, or I believe it's Lismachia. This one is rather likes to spread. I really like the dark foliage, and it gets little yellow flowers on it here in a couple weeks. A little autumn joy sedum, Ito peony, which is more of a woodland peony. So the stalks on it are much more woody. That'll get yellow flowers on it. Looks like they're putting it on some nice buds, so hopefully in not too long that'll start to bloom. Right in front of that is the evening primrose, so that'll get a nice swath of yellow. A yellow coreopsis, that's the theme. And then I have some Stachy's humelo, I think it's how you call it. It's kind of the form of a lamb's ear, and then we'll get little pinky lavender plumes. I split and put a couple more so I could spread it a little bit. Then we've got, never had good luck with Asiatic lilies, but I planted a couple of them last year, and they actually are coming up, so yay for me. Back behind that is a group of, I think, 4 autumn joy sedums. So that'll be nice fall color. A daylily, I believe that one will be a deep red. A couple of peonies, I believe the large one in the back is white and the front one is a pink. All right. I'm going to finish up this part of the garden, and then I'm going to go back over to the birdcage garden so we can take a look at the rest of that. All right, I believe that's Fire and Ice hosta. I really like how the leaves are all squiggly. Another Night Before Christmas hosta. Wild geranium, been here for many years. That'll get on little pink flowers. I had some purple mini or dwarf iris. Those have already bloomed. Those are purple. Then I've got a grouping of, I want 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Various different sedums. These are little ground sedums, and these are from my friend Jen at work. I just put in this little hosta here. That one's Fernline. I like the blue with the yellow or pink margins. Got a couple more Asiatic lilies. A couple more peonies back there. I think those are red and maybe a pink. And then if I go back in here, in this little obelisk, I had to put the cage up. The rabbits are going to come and get it. But this one is Sally, so she'll get a pink flowers. But you can see the growth. It's doing okay. Not as well as some of the other clematis, as you will see in just a little bit. All right, some more salvia. I believe these are more of the rose marble. Another hosta here. That one's lipstick blonde. I really like the red stalk on it with the chartreuse leaves. And then this is another clematis, which is doing much better. I'm not even sure which this one is. I'd have to look it up, but I think it's Niobe or something like that. But it is taking up almost the whole trellis. As you can see, way up to the top there's growth. And I see some buds starting to form, so hopefully in not too long we'll have that going for us. Back behind it, I have a little sedum here. This is a variegated that I got at the Mennonite Gardens in Iowa several years ago. Last year it didn't do so good. It shed all its leaves, and I don't know if it even bloomed, but it gets kind of a white flower. More iris. Another view of that pink peony. It's rather large this year, so it looks pretty good. Grape expectations. Heuchera, starting to get ready for the blooming. I really like that deep purpley. Forever Red. This is actually quite a bit older, but I've moved it a few times. I actually had a couple other ones right next to it, but those perished. Then I've got Silver Gumdrop here, a nice silvery purpley color. And let's stop here and we'll go back over to the birdcage garden and we'll take a look at that. All right, coming up along the birdcage, I've got some alliums. I believe that are transplants from my friend Kate at work. She gave them to me last year. Then I have several different kind of ground sedums again. I got off of Marketplace. I think I'm supposed to have some Louisia here. I think that little teensy weensy piece might be a Louisia that maybe survived, but the other couple did not. All right, and then back behind that I have some Frosty Fire Dianthus. Those will get nice red flowers. You'll have to excuse my weeds and all these icky helicopters from the maple trees. We had a really windy day last week and they all came down at once. And they kind of destroyed the garden. All right, and then these are, let me look, I have a tag here. These are the Pink Potion Magic Show Veronica, or Speedwell. So those will get nice pink plumes on them. Then I have 5, I want to say they're also pink or a lavender color of Bee Balm. Some more daylilies. A barberry. I really like the burgundy color. I got some little yellow flowery things, but nothing too impressive. I like just the color of the foliage. Couple more lilies. So they're doing good this year. Then I've got a couple of white salvia and then a couple of pink. And that really about does it. Oh, here I have the peony. This is a coral color. I actually thought I had dug this one up and moved it. But obviously I didn't get the whole thing because it is here and growing well as it's putting on an offshoot over there. More of that Humelo, Stacky's Humelo that I moved over last year. And I think I moved a little bit of a wild geranium here. All right, let's finish up the back garden here. All right. I don't know how many of you saw my video when I put together my greenhouse. So that was kind of a fun project. I did start some seeds in there. I've transplanted most of them. There's a few that I did not. This bed right in front of it, I did just throw seeds in here for zinnias, so we will see what happens with that. Unknown hostas here. These are transplants from other places in the yard. More of the Archangel. That little machine there is supposed to be a rabbit or animal detector. It's supposed to give off a loud screech that only animals can hear. One of my sons said that he could hear it, so I'm not sure. Some more Speedwell. I believe that one's another pink. I think that one's Stella de Oro. Can't remember now. Then I've got some Dianthus. This is a fire witch. So a nice pink. Got a little bit color in the garden. Not a whole lot yet. This was all my tulips and allium, daffodils, that kind of stuff. Look at all these icky helicopters. All of those, I planted 567 bulbs the year before last. They all came up last spring, very nice, but half of them perished. So this is a couple of alyssum right here that I had started in the greenhouse. So I did trim them back because they were actually starting to bloom, but I wanted them to flush out a little bit better and get a little bit more bulky. Italian ice rose. Just gonna have that guarded. That'll put on little yellowy pink flowers. More alyssum. Got a few things that didn't come back, but this is a blue flags iris. Looks like that one's not doing so good. That one's got some good white green growth on it. So I believe this is black-eyed Susans. So got a lupin. That was from my sister-in-law Joanne last year. I transplanted that. Not sure what these tall spiky things is. I believe I planted some bulbs of Gumfrina last year, right around in here. I'm not sure if they're going to bloom or not. Kind of looks like something may have bit off the tops, but I don't know. Then I had a different kind of coreopsis around in this area. I thought it had all died. This looks kind of like grass, but it doesn't look like the grass. So I'm going to leave this for a little bit and see what I can see, because I think that might be the coreopsis. A couple more mini lupines. Those will be multicolors. These are my Rudbeckia. I think they're autumn colors. Then I have some echinacea, powwow white and powwow wildberry. Gypsophilia. I've got two of them. One's doing really good, one's not doing so good. Those are transplants from my sister-in-law Joanne's garden last year. Another little sedum. That's just working okay. Peach lemonade. Rose. It looks like something was eating on them, so I'm going to have to get the spray and try to get them to go away. More Stella d'Oro. Jacob Klein bee balm. I got that at one of the garden centers for a couple bucks last fall. Then my allium. I do really like the allium. Nice purple bulbs. And a ball shaped. Even when they're almost over, they're still kind of pretty and add a little interest. Alright, the foliage is nothing to look at. A little more of the loosestrife there. Another big patch. Stella d'Oro. Daylily. Alright, we're now up behind the shed. And I'm doing work on this. I just started this project. I got some free aggregate pavers off of Marketplace. So I'm starting to put in my pathway. I'm just going to do the no-dig thing, put the cardboard down, put some mulch or compost over the top. So it's a work in progress. Just got a few things planted there from last year that I kind of moved. That side's going to have to be worked on. Orange ditch lilies. More of the goat's beard, so these get taller than the fence, and put on some nice white plumes. Oh, and the neighbor was just telling me earlier today that they have some ducks in their yard. Cute mama and papa. All right. I don't know. They have a swimming pool over there, so maybe they like that. All right, some more irises. I have a lot of the same color, so I'm going to be thinning those out again. Got some rhubarb. I had 3 plants originally at one time, and I tried to kill them off, and it didn't work. This is I want to say that one's a loosestrife, and then right in front of it is a phlox. And I've got some lamium down there, ground cover. Chamomile will get nice yellow flowers. That was actually from a former co-worker I got off of Marketplace. I can't think of her name. Jen, a different Jen. Walker's Low Catmint. That one kind of splayed open, so I probably should have done the Chelsea chop and chopped it back so it would get a little bit bulkier. The transplant of my peony. That'll get a coral color. All right, a different Jen gave me these wild geraniums. I think it might have been 2 years ago or real early spring last year. I don't remember. More iris. This one looks like it might be a deeper purple, but I can't remember. Daylilies. I think those will be red. I have a nice Glow Girl Spirea. That'll get nice little white flowers on that. Some more of that false sunflower that'll get tall and yellow flowers. Another Night Before Christmas hosta. Brother Stefan. Original Golden Tiara. I got that from my sister-in-law Carolyn a couple years ago when they were moving out of their house. Another Astilbe here. I never have good luck with Astilbe, but all of them seem to have been doing really good this year. No idea what name of it is or what color it will be. Geranium. Another Astilbe flanked by 2 hostas. Kind of nice chartreusey with a real deep green edge. Those are transplants from my sister-in-law, Carolyn. Empress Wu transplants from the one up on the side garden, the very first one I showed you. This is a transplant from the Dawn's Early Light. All right, so if I hadn't messed with that first one up there in the front, this is what that one would look like. So I'll give it another year or two and that should put on some good growth. Elegans. Another just a real small hosta transplant from my sister-in-law. Patriot. Guardian Angel. Not sure. I think that might be Halcyon again. This blue one. More of that lamium. I might have to dig some of that up. I've got the Red Beauty Fern back here, and I've got a Patriot coming right in the middle of it, so I'm going to have to do something about that one. More different kind of a lamium here coming up. That one actually really spreads. I'm not even sure what this one is. It might be a self-sower. Looks like it might be a wild petunia. I want to say I did buy a woodland or wild petunia last year from a garden in Afton. All right, more transplants of the other plants. Got some heucheras. Lots of different hostas along here. Rainforest Sunrise. Looking pretty. Lakeside Paisley print. I think that's Guacamole. Another Iris. More Patriots. My Solar Eclipse heuchera did not come back. We had kind of a weird winter. We had not very much snow cover and a lot of cold. This one is Fickle Blue Jeans. I don't know why they call it blue jeans because it's more chartreuse to me. Another Patriot. Back behind that is the Ghost Fern. It's been there a couple of years. It hasn't done a whole lot, but it keeps coming back, so I like that. Ostrich ferns. Yellow flower. I think it's Meadow Rue, but I'm not 100% sure. I believe I got it from that neighbor over there a couple years ago. And so it does like to spread a little bit. All right, more hostas that were transplants. This one's Francie. I like that, a lot of green and then just a little white margin. Creeping Jenny. I put that one in there. I took it out of a planter that I had last year, and then I just put it in the ground to see what it would do. All right, swinging around. A couple more hosta transplants. A couple weeds. That one is a black cohash. It gets really huge. I want to say 8 feet tall and a long white plume. And we come back around here. I don't know if you guys remember from last year, if you've watched my channel before, we started a garden in honor of family members. So we have one clematis here in honor of Lou's brother Henry. This one's called Henry Eye. I actually put a little bit larger backdrop trellis to the gate we had from my sister-in-law Joanne last year, but still, I probably need a bigger one yet. And then this one's Samaritan Joe. She's doing good. Not as good as the Henry Eye, but ooh, it looks like she's got a couple dead spots. I don't know what happened there. Maybe it got too hot against the fence. I wouldn't think so, but she's getting ready to bloom too, so that'll be kind of fun. All right. All right. Getting down to the end here. We're on the west side of the property, near the back. And then I don't know how many of you watched my channel, but I had a little short video, I believe, of just a few weeks ago, early April, I think it was. I did this project. I had put some tarps down for the winter. Then I pulled that up and put a bunch of the cardboard. And then I brought in 10 yards of farm post. So compost and got this covered up. So there's lots of soil, lots of empty spots. I started to fill in from different plantings. Got some irises. I believe those are from a friend, actually my neighbor's cousin, I believe it was. Those are a couple unknown plants from my winter sowing. I want to say they're Gypsophilia, but I'm not 100% sure. Then we got a bunch of blank land. I got a gate and a little chair. I got to plant up that little pot that was from my sister-in-law Joanne. A couple of irises from my neighbor's cousin. I just planted them last week. Peony also from that same cousin. I believe she said that that would be red. And you guys know, maybe if you've been watching my channel, that I've got a fairy garden. I picked that up off of Marketplace, so I've got to pick up a couple plants to put up in that. More different kind of irises. Some of them are dwarf, some of them are yellow, some of them are purple, is what I hear. Then I had a little bit of a ring around this tree last year, so I already started to plant up some things last year. I had this back in black sedum. I had 3 of them here. That's the only one that survived. Again, our winter was very weird. All right, that's another peony from that cousin of the neighbor. First time I ever had Jacob's Ladder. I bought this a couple weeks ago, probably maybe 6 weeks ago. Heavenly Heart. Heavenly Habit. Hosta, Island Breeze. A couple of Jugas. Again, my helicopters are mixed in. I've tried to blow them out a few times, and it's not been working. Abiqua Drinking Gourd Hosta. That one gets giant and kind of like a cup shape. Stiletto, little stringy one. Praying Hands, I really like that. That one was a liner. Praying Hands was from last year. Not sure what that thing is. I planted that last year. I didn't save the tag apparently. A couple of transplant hostas. Maui Buttercup, that was a liner last year. I have a Delphinium coming up. That was one of my, I think I started it in the basement and then moved it to the greenhouse earlier. And then brought it out a couple weeks ago. A couple of Dianthus. The catmint back here. I'm not sure which one this one is. It might be another Walker's Low. Then I want to say this is zinnias that I just planted out last week. And then I've got some sea holly, so that'll put it on little globy blue flowers at some point. More irises. This one I think is a May Night Salvia, so it'll be a nice dark purple. A peony. I don't even remember where I transplanted that one from. I want to say it's going to be red, but I'm not even 100% sure. Another little ring of iris that I got. Another basket that I got from the Amish Gardens. Put that on the little shepherd's hook. A couple of heucheras. Got Arizona to the left. This is a nice kind of a, I don't know what you call it, autumn color, tan, reddish. And then green tea. Nice bright chartreuse. Then it was a cheap on the garden clearance at Gerton's. Another salvia. That one get pink. Back behind that is more salvia, and that's Cardona, however you pronounce that one. Nice purple plumes. Got an Asiatic lily. It says looks tiny parrot. I believe that's a yellow and red. Not sure. Helen von Stein lamb's ear. Just planted that a couple weeks ago. Well, all of this is fresh plantings, either transplants or marketplace or things that I got like at Menards that are really cheap. That's a phlox. Super K-Pow coral. I had a sunflower back there. I think that's perished. I think that was started at the winter sowing method. I want to say this is limelight hydrangea. I moved that from the side of the shed, or not side of the shed, side of the garage. Earlier this year, there was two planted really close together, and they needed to both be moved. This is alyssum. I started in the winter sowing method, and I just put those out last week. Nepeta, or catmint, chartreuse on the loose. I had cut those way back when I first planted them, so they'll take a little bit. Got some more iris. Foxglove, I think there's two pinks and a white. Or yellow, I can't remember now. I know there's two different colors. Then we've got Rockin' Round Popstar Sedum. I like that green kind of with the purple or dark foliage. A couple of Arizona Sun Gaillardia or blanket flowers and some Echinacea Orange Sunset. Get some nice orangey blossoms as well as another white one. And then I have the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta from Proven Winners. It looks like I need to kind of trim that back. Of course, they were in full bloom when I got them, and they need to be trimmed back so they can do another flush and tighten up. All right, got a couple more places to go. All right, this is just another island garden. I'm just calling this the Goddess Garden or the Rose Garden because it's all going to be roses. Right now it's just a round, but I'm going to make it more of a kidney bean or some sort of shape like that. But I got that goddess from my sister-in-law, Joanne, as well as the rose right in front of it. And that is My Girl, and that blooms a nice red. I did burlap it this winter, and it came back, and it's got a lot of nice growth on it. And yesterday, I planted my two that I got from Heirloom Roses. This one is Queen of Sweden. So they'll get a nice pink. These come all defoliated pretty much. So I planted those, gave them a good set of fertilizer, fish fertilizer. It stunk really bad. And it was just the recommendations. And this is the Poet's Wife. And that will be yellow. Really pretty yellow. That was my grandma Chris. It was her favorite color of a rose. But I really liked it. And I think once we start filling up with some more roses, and that this garden will end up to really, really pretty with that statue. All right, the last ring garden, fairy garden. I think that might be a Stilby. I don't remember planting that there, but I'll have to wait for a little bit. It doesn't look like a weed. Got this American Goldfinch Baptisia off of Marketplace. Picked that up a couple days ago. Threw that in there. Got our fairies. Got a turtle from my sister-in-law, Joanne. This one is something with a K. I got this a few days ago off of Marketplace. It actually came as one plant. I split it and got 2 plants out of it. Lily of the Valley. Ajuga. I really like this color. It's kind of the green and purpley. Another Pulmonaria I got off of Marketplace for a couple bucks. All right. And I don't know if anybody has seen Lou's project from last year, but she did a couple of fairy gardens in old bird cages that she got from her sister, and decorated them, and the fairies are seeming to enjoy themselves. Got smiles on their face. All right, let's go by the garage and then we'll be done. All right, another project we did last year. I don't know, I didn't highlight the other ones, but we did plate flowers where we just got from like Goodwill and places like that for pretty cheap, and then glued them together with some super glue, a strong glue, I think it's called E6000, and put them on a stake and stick them in the ground. I believe this is Little Lime Hydrangea. Doesn't get much bigger than that. This is another Clematis. I can't remember what the name of this one is. It's not getting as tall as you can see, but it actually is getting ready to bloom. So that'll be interesting. Another Little Lime, some more allium from my friend Kate at work. We'll go through the fence into the front. A couple irises I just transplanted. Then I've got a Firelight Tidbit. This is also from the Creekside Nursery in Dallas, North Carolina. Not doing quite as good as the other one, but it's survived. I had a different one here. I had to dig it up. It was dead. I don't remember which one it was, but it didn't survive the winter. A couple more Stella de Oro daylilies. The rocks had some hens and chicks, but they didn't survive. Got a Junior Walker catmint. I believe that's a couple of phlox. Some more irises. And then this is the other hydrangea. And that is, there was 2 of them together. I moved that other one to that side garden, and then I bumped this one out 6 inches or so just to get it a little more sun and out from under the eaves. So, all right, let's look at a couple of pots and then we're done. Just planted this one up today. I like the purple and gold. Apparently it's another Vikings theme. It's some salvia and some petunias, and I don't even know what this one's called. That kind of fills out that vase or pot, kind of cute. And I did a couple of pots with just a single plant. It's a Rex begonia, and I just like the variegated color on that. I don't think it even flowers, but I just thought that'll get bigger and fill out that pot and look pretty. And lastly, there's another pot there of another Rex begonia. A little bit different coloring. This is from the Amish Gardens again, down in St. Charles, Minnesota. And then this is a Virgin Mary statue. That was my mother-in-law's. She had it for many, many years, and once she passed away, we were able to obtain it and put it here for our enjoyment. All right, I think that's it. Thank you for joining me. I hope you liked the video. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe. All right, see you next time.